Rising from the ashes, Commander Elena Reyes stood on the observation deck of the ESS Phoenix, her weathered hands clasped behind her back as she gazed at the stars beyond the reinforced viewport. Earth's silhouette hung in the distance, a fragile blue marble still bearing the scars of the Krivax bombardment from 3 years ago. The attack had been swift and merciless, a warning from the galactic hegemon that had claimed 8 million lives and reduced several coastal cities to rubble. "Commander, the Coalition representatives have arrived," Lieutenant Kazuo informed her, his voice steady despite the tension that permeated the ship. "Tell them I'll be there shortly," Elena replied, taking one final look at the planet they were fighting to protect. The Phoenix wasn't just humanity's first true interstellar warship, it was their last hope. When the Krivax Dominion had arrived in Earth's orbit 5 years ago, they'd presented themselves as benevolent advanced beings, offering technological scraps in exchange for resource rights. But when humanity began to question the one-sided arrangement, the Krivax revealed their true nature. The bombardment followed, along with an ultimatum: submit or face extinction. In the conference room, representatives from Earth's unified nations waited, their faces showing various degrees of anxiety and hope. Admiral Hassan, head of the United Earth Defense Force, nodded as Elena entered. "The Phoenix is ready," she announced without preamble. "All systems are functional, and the quantum inversion drive has been successfully tested within Saturn's rings. We can depart within 24 hours. Murmurs rippled through the assembled officials. The ship they were standing in represented the culmination of human ingenuity, desperation, and determination, built in secret beneath the lunar surface using reverse-engineered Krivax technology, combined with theoretical physics the human scientists had only dreamed about before first contact. "The Krivax delegation arrives tomorrow to finalize Earth's integration into their dominion," said General Okafor, her voice tight. "They're bringing their ceremonial flagship, the Dominion's pride. Our intelligence suggests it carries enough firepower to finish what they started 3 years ago." "And they have no idea about Phoenix?" asked the representative from the European Confederation. "None," Elena confirmed. "As far as they know, we're still struggling with basic ion propulsion. The lunar shipyards have remained undetected." Dr. Samira Chen, lead scientist of Project Phoenix, brought up a holographic display in the center of the conference table. "The Phoenix isn't just a ship, it's a technological revolution. The hull incorporates quantum-locked carbon matrices that can absorb and redirect energy. The inversion drive allows us to create temporary spatial folds for near-instantaneous travel between points." She highlighted the ship's most revolutionary feature, "But our true advantage lies in the Nexus core. By studying the Krivax weapons, we discovered they rely on predictable energy patterns. The Nexus can analyze, adapt to, and counteract any energy signature it encounters within microseconds. In simple terms," Elena added, "we can turn their own weapons against them." The Coalition representatives exchanged glances. They'd authorized this project in desperation, pouring Earth's remaining resources into what many had considered a fool's errand. Now, seeing the finished vessel, the gamble seemed less insane. "The plan is straightforward," Elena continued. "When the Krivax ceremonial fleet arrives, the Phoenix will emerge from behind the moon. We'll offer them one chance to leave our system permanently. When they refuse, and they will refuse, we'll demonstrate exactly what humanity is capable of." "And if you fail?" asked the Chinese representative. Elena's expression didn't change. "Then Earth falls. But we were going to fall anyway. At least now we have a chance to bloody their nose before we go." The meeting concluded with solemn nods. As the representatives departed to make their final preparations, Elena returned to the bridge. The crew, handpicked from every nation, the best Earth had to offer, worked with quiet efficiency. "Status report," she ordered, taking her command chair. "All systems nominal," reported Lieutenant Commander Jackson from the tactical station. "Weapon systems are green across the board. Nexus core is stable and responsive. The Krivax fleet has entered the lunar orbit. added Lieutenant Kazuo from Sensors. 6 warships escorting their ceremonial flagship, just as intelligence predicted. Elena nodded. Begin countdown to emergence. All hands to battle stations. Throughout the massive ship, klaxons sounded as crew members secured stations and prepared for humanity's first, and possibly last, stand against their would-be conquerors. They're broadcasting their terms of surrender, Communications Officer Patel announced. They're demanding complete disarmament and resource rights to the entire solar system. Mars is to be converted into a Kryvax colony. Record it all, Elena ordered. The people deserve to know what we're fighting against. The Phoenix hummed with power as its revolutionary engines engage. Silently, the massive vessel emerged from its lunar hiding place, positioning itself between Earth and the approaching Kryvax fleet. We are being scanned, Jackson reported. They've detected us. Open a channel, Elena commanded, standing from her chair. When the main screen flickered to life, she found herself staring at High Commander Vrex of the Kryvax Dominion, his scaled features arranged in what passed for amusement among his kind. What is this? Vrex asked, mandibles clicking. The primitives have built a toy ship. How quaint. Elena's voice was level. This is Commander Elena Reyes of the Earth ship Phoenix. Your presence in our system is no longer welcome. You will leave immediately and never return, or we will remove you by force. The bridge of the Kryvax ship erupted in what humans had learned was their version of laughter. You had your chance to submit peacefully, Vrex replied. Now you will witness the price of defiance. He turned to his officers. Target their pathetic vessel. Show them what real technology can do. The connection cut. Moments later, the Kryvax flagship unleashed a searing beam of energy directly at the Phoenix. Nexus core engaging, Dr. Chen announced from her science station. Analyzing energy pattern. Pattern recognized. Countermeasures deployed. The beam struck the Phoenix and dissipated harmlessly around its hull. Return fire, Elena ordered calmly. Targeted systems only. Let's show them exactly what primitives are capable of. The Phoenix's response was unlike anything the Kryvax had ever encountered. Instead of conventional weapons, focused quantum fields reached out, selectively disrupting the flagship's propulsion systems. The massive Kryvax vessel suddenly lurched, its engines failing as the quantum disruption cascade spread through its systems. They're powering up all weapons, Jackson reported. Their escort vessels are moving to surround us. Elena nodded. Deploy countermeasures and prepare the inversion field. What followed was not the one-sided slaughter the Kryvax had expected. As their weapons fired, the Phoenix's Nexus core analyzed and adapted to each attack. Energy weapons were absorbed and redirected. Kinetic projectiles found themselves caught in localized spatial distortions, their momentum stolen. In return, the Phoenix struck with surgical precision, not to destroy, but to disable. One by one, the Kryvax ships found their advanced systems failing, their vaunted technology turned against them by the very primitives they'd dismissed. The flagship is attempting to retreat, Kazuo reported. The escorts are shielding its withdrawal. Not today, Elena said. Engage inversion drive. Put us directly in their path. The Phoenix vanished in a ripple of distorted space, reappearing instantly before the fleeing Kryvax flagship. On the Kryvax bridge, visible through the still-open communication channel, High Commander Vrex's expression shifted from confidence to disbelief. Impossible, he hissed. You cannot have mastered full technology. Your species was mining iron a mere millennium ago. That's humanity's greatest strength, Elena replied. We adapt. We evolve. We take what we learn, and we make it better. She stepped forward. This is your final warning. Leave our system and never return, or what happens next will be on your hands. For a tense moment, the standoff held. Then, with visible reluctance, Vrex gave the order to stand down. This is not the end, he promised. The Dominion spans 1,000 worlds. We will return with a force that even your Unexpected advancements cannot withstand. We'll be waiting, Alina replied, and we'll be ready. As the Kryvax fleet limped away from Earth, the bridge crew of the Phoenix remained silent, scarcely believing what they had accomplished. Humanity's first interstellar battle had ended not in defeat, but in victory. Send word to Earth, Alina ordered, her voice finally betraying the hint of emotion. Tell them the Phoenix has risen. The galactic game changer. 6 months after the confrontation with the Kryvax flagship, the ESS Phoenix drifted in high orbit above Mars, where a sprawling shipyard had sprung into existence. Below, the red planet buzzed with activity as construction drones and human workers labored to build humanity's second great achievement since first contact, a fleet of vessels incorporating the Phoenix's revolutionary technology. On the Phoenix's newly expanded diplomatic deck, Commander Alina Reyes stood beside Admiral Hassan as they prepared to receive an unprecedented delegation. In the aftermath of humanity's victory over the Kryvax, the galactic community had suddenly taken notice of the supposedly primitive species from the backwater system. The Solarian collective representatives have docked, Lieutenant Kazuo announced. The Neshta delegation is 2 minutes behind them. And the Kryvax? Admiral Hassan asked. Their observer ship remains at the agreed-upon distance, Kazuo confirmed. They're maintaining communication silence, but continue to monitor. Alina straightened her uniform. Let's make history. The diplomatic deck hummed with tension as the alien delegations arrived. The Solarians, a collective consciousness housed in crystalline bodies, glittered as they entered, their resonant thoughts translating through advanced interpreters. The Neshta followed, arthropod-like beings whose cautious movements belied their status as one of the oldest spacefaring civilizations. We observe with interest, the Solarian delegate communicated, crystal facets shifting to direct its attention toward Alina, the species that defied Kryvax dominance. The equation shifts. The Neshta representative clicked its mandibles. For 3 millennia, the Kryvax have expanded unchecked. Many civilizations have fallen. Yet here stands humanity, barely a century into spaceflight, having accomplished what the combined forces of the Galactic Coalition could not. Admiral Hassan gestured to the holographic display showing Mars and the growing shipyard. Humanity doesn't seek conquest. We built the Phoenix out of necessity to defend our home. Yet now you build more ships, the Neshta noted. Curious behavior for a non-expansionist species. We learned a difficult lesson, Alina interjected. In this galaxy, peace is maintained through strength. The Kryvax attacked us because they thought we were weak. They won't make that mistake again, and neither will we. The diplomatic discussions continued for days, carefully navigating the complex dynamics of galactic politics. The Solarians sought technological exchange, fascinated by the novel approaches human scientists had developed. The Neshta, more cautious, proposed a defensive pact, protection in exchange for access to resources beyond Earth's system. Throughout the negotiations, Dr. Chen and her team continued refining the Phoenix's systems. The Nexus core had evolved beyond its original parameters, learning from each encounter and simulation. In the ship's massive engineering section, Chief Engineer Okonkwo supervised the installation of the next-generation inversion drive, capable of longer jumps with greater precision. The Kryvax are moving, Lieutenant Jackson reported during a particularly tense negotiation session. Their observer vessel has broken orbit and is accelerating out of the system. The alien delegates exchanged meaningful glances. They returned to the Dominion. The Neshta representative clicked. They will prepare. The Kryvax do not tolerate challenges to their authority. Admiral Hassan's expression remained impassive. How much time do we have? Their nearest battle fleet is stationed at Proxima Centauri. The Solarian delegate resonated. The system they conquered 3 solar cycles ago. With conventional drive technology, their arrival would require approximately 6 of your months. Alina and Hassan shared a look. Proxima Centauri, Earth's nearest stellar neighbor. The Kryvax have been on humanity's doorstep all along. Then we have work to do, Alina said simply. In the following weeks, the Mars shipyards accelerated production. The diplomatic negotiations evolved into a formal alliance, with the Solarians providing advanced computational systems and the Neshta contributing their millennia of experience in space warfare. 4 months after the departure of the Kryvax observer, the Phoenix led a small but formidable human fleet on its maiden voyage beyond the solar system. Alongside it flew representative vessels from both the Solarian Collective and the Neshta Hives, the first joint military operation in recent galactic history. As they approached the Proxima Centauri system, sensors detected the massive Kryvax battle fleet. 50 warships gathered around the conquered planet, preparing for their assault on Earth. They outnumber us 5-1, Jackson reported from Tactical, and they've modified their weapons systems. Our previous countermeasures may not be as effective. They've been studying us, Alina noted, learning from their defeat. That's what we would have done. The Kryvax commander is hailing us, Communications Officer Patel announced. It's High Commander Vrex again. The main screen activated, revealing the Kryvax commander. His scales had darkened, a sign of elevated status within their hierarchy. The primitives return, Vrex said, mandibles clicking in what humans now recognized as contempt. And you've brought friends. How unfortunate for them. To tie their fate to a doomed species. Alina stepped forward. This is your only warning, Commander. The Proxima Centauri system is now under the protection of the Tri-Species Alliance. Your forces will withdraw immediately. Vrex's compound eyes glittered. The Dominion does not withdraw. The Dominion conquers. Your single victory was an anomaly, one we have spent considerable resources understanding and countering. He leaned closer to the screen. There will be no mercy this time. Earth will be reduced to atoms, a lesson to all who would challenge the natural order. The transmission cut abruptly. Moments later, the Kryvax fleet began to move, spreading into a classic encirclement formation. They've learned, Admiral Hassan observed grimly. Their fleet is positioning to counter our maneuverability advantage. Alina turned to her tactical officer. Deploy the Nexus mesh. From the Phoenix and its sister ships, hundreds of small drones dispersed, forming an invisible network throughout the battlefield. Each carried a miniaturized version of the Nexus core, linked together into a distributed intelligence that could analyze and respond to threats across the entire engagement zone. Mesh deployed and active, Jackson confirmed. The Solarian vessels have synchronized their crystalline matrices with our network. The Neshta High ships are in defensive formation. All ships, execute battle plan Prometheus, Alina ordered. What followed was unlike any space battle in recorded galactic history. The Kryvax attacked with overwhelming force, confident in their superior numbers and newly adapted weapons. But the human-led alliance fought with unprecedented coordination, the Nexus mesh allowing their smaller fleet to function as a single organism. When Kryvax energy weapons fired, their patterns were instantly analyzed and countered. When they launched kinetic projectiles, localized space distortions altered their trajectories. Most surprisingly to the Kryvax, when they attempted to use their own version of full technology to gain tactical advantage, they found the space around them stabilized by the Neshta vessels, preventing their jumps. On the Phoenix's bridge, Alina watched the battle unfold with intense concentration. They're adapting quickly, she noted as Kryvax vessels began to modify their attack patterns. Their tactical AI is impressive, but not creative, Dr. Chen replied from her station. They're following optimization algorithms, looking for weaknesses in our defenses through brute force calculation. Then let's show them something their algorithms can't predict, Alina decided. Prepare the Phoenix for a direct assault on their command ship. Engineer Okonko, is the Cascade Protocol ready? Ready, Commander, came the reply from engineering. But it's never been field tested. The energy requirements will leave us vulnerable for approximately 40 seconds after deployment. The Allied vessels will provide cover, Admiral Hassan said. This may be our only opportunity to end this decisively. Elena nodded. All Alliance vessels. This is Commander Reyes. Execute covering pattern Delta. The Phoenix is moving to strike position. The human flagship accelerated suddenly, its inversion drive creating a series of short-range jumps that made it appear to flicker through space, confounding Kryvak's targeting systems. Alliance vessels concentrated their fire on the path ahead, clearing a corridor through the enemy formation. "We're within deployment range," Jackson announced. "Kryvak's command ship is adjusting position. They're bringing all weapons to bear on us." "Initiate Cascade Protocol," Elena ordered. From the Phoenix, a wave of quantum disruption expanded outward, not attacking the Kryvak ships directly, but altering the fundamental properties of space around them. For a critical moment, the laws of physics themselves seemed to fluctuate within the affected zone. On the Kryvak's vessels, systems faltered as energy suddenly behaved according to unfamiliar patterns. Weapons failed to discharge, shields collapsed, and engines stalled. The disruption was temporary, lasting less than 10 seconds, but its effect on the battle was immediate and profound. "All Alliance vessels, concentrate fire on disabled targets," Admiral Hassan commanded. The coordinated attack that followed was devastating. Deprived of their technological advantages, the Kryvak ships found themselves vulnerable to precisely targeted strikes from the Alliance fleet. One by one, the mighty warships of the Dominion went dark or began emergency retreat maneuvers. On the main screen, High Commander Frex's face appeared once more, his command center now illuminated only by emergency lighting. "What have you done?" he demanded, his usual arrogance replaced by bewilderment. "We changed the rules," Elena replied simply. "Your surrender will be accepted. The Kryvak's Dominion will withdraw from Proxima Centauri and all other systems bordering human space. A formal peace treaty will be negotiated with the Tri-Species Alliance." Vrex's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of intense agitation. "The Dominion does not surrender. We have ruled the stars for millennia while your kind still huddled in caves. Then perhaps it's time for the galaxy to experience a different kind of leadership," Elena suggested. "One based on cooperation rather than conquest." The Battle of Proxima Centauri marked a turning point in galactic history. The defeat of the Kryvak's fleet sent shockwaves through established power structures. Species long subjugated by the Dominion began to resist. Other advanced civilizations, previously neutral, reached out to the nascent Tri-Species Alliance, seeking diplomatic relations. 6 months later, Elena stood once again on the observation deck of the Phoenix, now orbiting a neutral space station where representatives from 27 spacefaring civilizations had gathered to sign the Proxima Accords, a new framework for galactic cooperation. "Quite a view," Admiral Hassan commented as he joined her. "I never imagined I'd live to see something like this." Elena nodded, watching the diverse ships docked around the station, vessels of designs and technologies as varied as the species that created them. "The Kryvak's representative has arrived," Lieutenant Kazuo reported, approaching them. "They're requesting your presence at the signing ceremony." "The Dominion actually sent someone?" Hassan asked, surprised. "I thought they'd refuse to participate." "They've had to adapt," Elena replied with a slight smile. "That's something humans understand very well." As they walked toward the diplomatic deck, Elena reflected on humanity's journey. In just a few short years, they had gone from victims of alien aggression to architects of a new galactic order. The Phoenix, born from desperation and ingenuity, had changed everything. "You know," Hassan said quietly as they approached the ceremony, "Earth's historians are already calling this the Phoenix Era." Elena glanced back at the ship that had carried humanity to the stars, not as conquerors or subjects, but as equals. "Phoenix is just the beginning," she replied. "Wait until they see what we do next." As they entered the great hall where the future of the galaxy awaited their signature, representatives of dozens of civilizations turned toward the humans, some with respect, others with curiosity, but none with the dismissal or contempt they had once faced. Humanity had arrived on the galactic stage, and the stars would never be the same again.